Coming up tonight, Trump takes on NBC News in a very interesting new interview recorded a few days ago. We're going to react to that tonight. Also, Jay-Z accused of SA on a 13-year-old minor. Okay. Also, we have longtime poet Nikki Giovanni passing away at 81 years old today. All that and more on episode number 106 of Up to Speed with Trip Simpson. We'll be right back.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Up to Speed with Trip Simpson. I am your host, Trip Simpson, in the building.
The first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
That's right. And before we get this live stream started tonight, first and foremost, you know we got to handle business. Let's get it.
Family moving up in the business. I know you're going to look after family.
What family you talking about, Ice?
Fuck, I look invisible, nigga.
That's right. I am not invisible, so do me a favor. If you're watching live on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got a very interesting show for you guys tonight. We got a very, very interesting show for you guys tonight. Also, man, don't forget to hit that share button. First up, I want to talk about poet Nikki Giovanni. Okay, so first up we got poet and black militant activist Nikki Giovanni. All right, so she passed away today at the age of 81 years old. First off, my condolences to her family and her friends and all her supporters. Now, respectfully, I wasn't a huge fan of hers. I was not a huge fan of hers. I'm sure she was a nice person and a good person towards her loved ones. But as far as her politics and her opinions on how black folks should operate, I thoroughly disagree. I mean, first off, she was a feminist. And she adamantly believed that women should run the community. Also, she was a strong advocate for the alphabet mafia, okay? Politics-wise, she was a strong advocate, which I am strongly opposed to. Now, quick disclaimer, being opposed to the political agenda of the alphabet mafia doesn't mean I'm opposed to people who may identify as LGBTQ, okay? I just disagree with their political stances, and I think that they have been extremely harmful to black society agenda-wise. Now, lastly, just like most leftists and liberal factions, I believe she delved way too close to communism, socialism, and Marxism. To sum it all up, I believe she was used as a tool by the left to help exploit black society into what it is today. Now, whether she did this willingly or unwillingly, that's a whole different conversation. But even if we go back to that classic conversation between her and James Baldwin, the agenda was always there. What do I mean? Let's take a trip in memory lane real quick. All right, let's take a trip down memory lane. Give me a second, let me get this video up. All right. All right, here we go.
So everybody's jive. Let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Also, let me know if I'm getting an echo from any of these videos. Please let me know if I'm getting an echo from the videos. Hit a 1 if the video is good. Hit a 2 if it's not. All right, let's go.
Of course you can lie to me. And you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course you'll lie to me, because I don't even want to care.
All right, how's it sound now? See, we got a 2 in the audience saying we got an echo. Let me know how it's going now.
What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I
must.
treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell because I love you. I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man? So everybody's...
So, okay, here we go. So she says, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask for a black man? Okay, so the problem here is very simple. You have Nikki Giovanni and you have James Baldwin, right? 2 people having a very important conversation about love between black men and black women. There's only one problem. There's only one problem here. Neither one of these people is heterosexual.
Ain't nobody bending me over.
Oh, so you doing the bending?
That's basically what the conversation should be. It shouldn't be all this lie to me and all this. Who's doing the bending? There's like, and this is what I like to reference as the starting point for the decline of black society. This conversation right here. They shove these 2 people down our throats and their communist ideals. Once again, I'm not trying to disrespect Nikki Giovanni. I think that she may have been doing this because she thought this was what's best. So I'm not here to shit on Nikki Giovanni. I'm just saying she was wrong. Another example. Do y'all remember when Bill Cosby went on that rant about the state of black people? This was years ago, maybe like 2004, 2005. He went on a rant about black people. He said what needs to be said, but a lot of black people took offense to it, right? If you don't remember, I want to take a jog down memory lane. I want to play a couple minutes of that for you so you can be refreshed, because that's gonna be a part of my next point, okay, about the rhetoric that came from Nikki Giovanni. All right, so give me a second. Let's get to that Bill Cosby interview. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. So here's the Bill Cosby interview.
In the face with rocks and in this deal, economic and lower.
Everybody talking.
All right, real quick. All right, hopefully the audio's good. All right, got the video up. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lower economic and lower middle economic people are not holding up their end in this deal. In the neighborhood that most of us grew up in, parenting is not going on.
Now tell me already, what is he saying wrong here? Because he's not lying. Parenting is not going on. That's the last thing going on in the black community, at least from what I can see in most of these inner cities where a lot of black folks live. There's no parenting going on at all. Let's continue.
Buying things for the kid. $500 sneakers. For what? And won't buy or spend $250 on Hooked on Phonics.
So far, I don't see no problem with what he's saying. You'll spend $500 on some sneakers, but you won't spend $250 on Hooked on Phonics. Let's go.
Now look, I'm telling you, it's not what they're doing to us. It's what we're not doing. 50% dropout. And look, we're raising our own ingrown immigrants. Brown versus the Board of Education. These people who marched and were hit in the face with rocks and punched in the face to get an education. And we got these knuckleheads walking around, don't want to learn English. I know that you all know it, but I just want to get you as angry as you ought to be. I can't even talk the way these people talk. Why you ain't where you is, go where? I don't know who these people are. And I blamed the kid until I heard the mother talk. And then I heard the father talk. This is all in the house.
Well, so
All right, so now I know a lot of y'all, when it came out, y'all took that speech the wrong way. But at the end of the day, this man was spot on. And you would think that Miss Nikki Giovanni, being an older woman at the time, I think she might have been in her 60s, if I'm not mistaken, you would think she would be able to understand what Cosby was trying to say. But no. You got to remember, Nikki Giovanni represents that black wave of feminists or feminism that was the start of the fall of black society. She represents that new wave of black women who had this crazy ass mindset. All right? This is the mindset that she represented. Right here, give me a second. Boom.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility. And then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so, you know, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
That's where it started. Now you gotta remember, Nikki Giovanni herself was a single mother who refused, in her own words, who refused to marry her child's father. As a matter of fact, she always emphasized never marrying him because she couldn't afford it. See, that's the start of the ass backwards thinking of some black women. So, you go out, you have a baby by a random man that you don't love, you intentionally create a broken home, and your only excuse is that you can't afford a husband. But always, to my point, look at her reaction to Bill Cosby's speech. All right, I'm gonna play her reaction to what Bill Cosby had to say. It's typical baby mama bullshit. Emotional responses, insults, and excuses. And zero accountability. Once again, all I'm doing is pointing things out. I have nothing but respect for this woman. She was well loved and well liked. But we gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. Her message was wrong. Because black women adapted this message, and look where we are now. And I'm not saying it's all black women's fault, but I'm saying this part of the game can definitely be blamed on black women. It is what it is. All right, so I want to show you what she had to say about Bill Cosby. All right, and the reaction to his speech.
I just want to mention this. I said, but damn, I thought I'd get some poetry. I want to read a poem, but I want to say this one other last thing.
All right, y'all, let me know if the audio is good. Make sure this thing ain't echoing. All right, let's go.
I just have to because nobody else is speaking of crazy Negroes. Well, somebody, that's the truth. Will somebody please hospitalize Bill Cosby?
Now you see that. Bill Cosby had valid concerns about the black community, and off the break, instead of challenging his ideas, she calls him a crazy Negro, says he needs to be put in the crazy house. She can't combat what Bill Cosby had to say about the state of the community. Why? Because if she combated it, then she would have to admit that a certain demographic in the community is steering us in the wrong direction. She can't admit it. But let's go.
That's sad. I mean, watching Bill, you know, black people, I don't know, I mean, I'm not going to deal with any white people in the room. Y'all are exempt from this. But, you know, we ate that Jell-O, and we did. And that mighty fine pudding, whatever he was doing with that, we would go in to have our pictures made, and we would demand Kodak paper to help that Negro out. And then he's going to turn around and tell me I'm a bad mother? I'm not buying that. He's going to tell me that I've done something wrong because I've tried to give my kid what every other kid has, because I've tried to do.
All you have to do is look at the results. I hate the fact that we can't tell them anything. All you have to do is look at the results, and that's what Bill Cosby was talking about. Bill Cosby stated the problem, and then he gave you the results, and then he gave you a solution. All she has is insults and excuses as to why the community is in the dirt. No accountability. But this is what they're telling you are the black minds that we need to revere and that we need to follow. Again, I don't think she did this with malicious intent, but at the same time, she's wrong.
Do the very best that I could do. Don't tell me about some tennis shoes. Why is it that poor kids have to wear Kids and everybody else can wear Michael Jordans? No, you don't send your kid out. Nobody in this room that has a kid. You know, we all did exactly what we could do.
So first of all, what do you mean we are the only ones that wear Jordan, especially when they first came out? We had them. The white kids and the other kids in the suburbs were wearing Kids. They were wearing Kids and Chuck Taylors and shit. Let me tell you something. My kids go to private school, right? I refuse to send them to public school, right? As long as I can afford it, I'm sending their ass to private school, okay? None of these kids in this school care about the tennis shoes they wear or care about designer clothes on their back. These kids get enjoyment out of going camping, fishing, shit like that. Their parents instill the necessity of family into them. Now, when they get older, they may want to get designer stuff, who knows? But for the most part, most of these kids grow up and they carry on the traditions of their parents. Nobody's thinking about a pair of Jordans. Like my daughter had a birthday party and she had a Lululemon hoodie on, right? And she thought she was so fly with this Lululemon hoodie on, right? Them little girls in her class had no idea what Lululemon was. And I told her, I said, you showing off and you doing all this for nothing. These kids don't care. Lululemon ain't. It's workout clothes. But you know, these kids think it's something. But you get around other communities, they don't care about designer clothes. It's not instilled in them that they need to be fashion forward from a young age. But anyway, let's go. Let's finish this video out.
And maybe it wasn't what other people could do. When everybody got bikes, I didn't have a Schwinn, but my mother got me a bike somehow. And I didn't ask her because it's none of my business. And she's gone and I can't, but it isn't. But what kind of person would I be that every kid has a bike and the black kids have to have skates? Every kid has a leather jacket and the black kids have to have cloth. You go out and you do what you can for your kids. You're not against your children. What the hell is he talking about? They should buy Hooked on Phonics because he doesn't understand what they're saying. He needs to listen. Listen, park your limousine.
Now, do y'all hear this shit? Do y'all hear this? The things that Bill Cosby addressed once again in this speech are real live solutions and observations that black folks could recognize and correct and would actually be in a better state than what they are now had they implemented the things that he was saying. And this lady is talking about the importance of buying your kids material things like Jordans and expensive bicycles. First off, if you can't afford these kids, then maybe you shouldn't be out here going sushi in the first place. Use a rubber. Use a rubber. But anyways, keeping your kid in designer clothes does absolutely nothing for them in the grand scheme of life. And it's only black folks, by way of being raised by primarily women that prioritize shit like that, that do it. Now, when it comes down to addressing the issues with the education, she totally dismisses his valid concern and combats that with an insult. So once again, no disrespect, condolences to Nikki Giovanni and her family. This wasn't intended to disrespect her in any way, shape, or form. This was instead a learning opportunity. Because you got to see where you went wrong if you ever want to move forward. Oh shit, and I almost forgot. All the trash this woman talked about the white man calling her a honky and a cracker, right? All that shit she talked about him back in the day. She turned around and then endorsed Joe Biden in 2020. Despite all the racist shit he's done on the record, and then she endorsed Kamala Harris. Now, interestingly enough, Nikki Giovanni and Nina Simone, I don't know if you guys know who Nina Simone is, but she's a historic black woman singer. Nina Simone, her and Nina Simone were very good friends. Now, do you know who was responsible for Nina Simone's family losing her entire estate? Do you know who was responsible for that? That's right, cackling Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris' crooked DA's office screwed Nina Simone's family over royally, and no one ever even talks about it. But this is supposed to be her friend. Anyways, y'all get the point. Rest in peace, Miss Nikki Giovanni. Condolences to you and your family. Now, let's get on to the next topic. I want to talk about this real quick. We got a lot to talk about, right? The main thing is going to be this Trump thing at the end. But real quick, I saw this on my timeline earlier. So apparently, video surfaced of Travis Hunter's fiance saying that she wasn't really into him at first. And this was after she was seen embarrassing him after a game the other day, pretty much live in 4K. She was refusing his advances at trying to get a little affection after a victory. All right, so real quick, let me get to this video of her and her comments. Hold on, give me a second. Y'all know I'm a one-man show here. Hold on. All right, so these are the comments.
I don't be fighting. She be fighting. She be fighting.
Like I said, I like things my way, and if it doesn't go my way, then.
Let me fix this screen. All right, here we go. Let's go back.
I shot myself on Instagram and she dubbed me.
I didn't dub. I just didn't respond to him. He wasn't my type. We be fighting.
I don't be fighting. She be fighting. She be fighting.
Like I said, I like things my way, and if it doesn't go my way, then
I don't like it.
I don't even sound like that. That's the funny thing.
That's all I be hearing when she be crying and talking.
I don't even cry for real.
Even though she get mad at me a lot.
I have to bring that up.
Nah, she get mad at me every day, y'all.
The reason why is because I'm a very particular person. Like, organized is like not even the word. Like, I like everything in order in my way, and if it's not my way, then
she wanna blame it all on me.
Somebody just said, don't marry her. She got an attitude and she mad all the time.
Bro, when I seen she say she was mad all the time, bro, she's really not mad all the time, man. You see, I'm not on her.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have an attitude problem. I really do. But I have to grow as an individual. And I'm a girl.
The crazy thing is that attitude.
So there we have it. I mean, I can't find the other video where they were also talking about when she was saying that she wasn't really interested in him at first, but that's not important. What I want to highlight though is the fact that the comedian Godfrey, right, the African dude that does all the impressions, he tried to give this young boy some good advice. But of course, he took offense and responded back. All right, so real quick, I'm going to get to Godfrey's comments and I'm going to show you what Travis Hunter had to say, and then we'll get some commentary on this particular topic. All right? Give me a second. All right.
This message goes out to Travis Hunter. Listen, Travis, I just want you to be careful, man. Nah, yeah, I said it. Be careful. Congrats.
And you see, Travis, this was Travis' response. If you can see, he says, "You know her? No. So don't speak on my relationship. Your old ass, move on with your life." He can't even spell. But anyway, let's listen to Godfrey. This was his recommendation to Travis Hunter.
Congratulations on your engagement, but man, you might have to disengage because something about this woman, man. The way she was talking to, and the way she was talking like she was really that chick. Listen, you love who you love. Facts, okay, I got that. That's all logical, but something ain't right. I just watched that dumb video of you guys in those matching pajamas that bugged me, and she was like dogging you, going, yeah, he wasn't my type. I was like, he wasn't my type.
It wasn't my type.
And then we went to this party and then we fell in love. I think, personally, I don't know when you all dated with a high school, I don't give a fuck. But when she found out your stats, bro, that's when I think she's like, oh, I love him. I don't know what she is. She's like Indian looking, Latino looking with a sprinkle of Ebonics. I don't fucking know what she is. But one thing I do know, you need to watch your ass, bro. I'm so serious, man. I just something ain't right. And I'm sure people agree with me right now. They're agreeing with me. Don't get sucked into this shit, bro. You better sign all kinds of fucking papers, man. All right? You better have an ironclad fucking contract because something ain't right. I didn't like that video. He wasn't my type. Remember, you wasn't my type. But when you successful, you everybody's fucking type. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, they find out your potential. Now you everybody's type. Be careful with that shit, bro. I'm just saying. I hope Coach Dion is helping him out. Like, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, I can't tell you what to do. You just gotta have confidence in what you're doing, and I bless you, bless God, and just be careful with the bullshit. I just didn't like what she said. She said, I'm not your type. He said, yeah, I think you should have let the bitch go. That's what I mean, I didn't mean to curse, but I'm just saying, you know, it is what it is. But Travis, your last name is Hunter, bro. You might have to go hunting real soon, bro. Go Buffaloes.
Speech. So, I mean, there we have it. And like I said, of course, I totally agree with Godfrey here. This woman is going to ruin his life. And it's sad because you can tell he never got chicks like that in high school. Or at least, I don't really know the real story, but he seems like one of them guys, right? First off, he's one of the top 5 players in the country with a crazy good NIL deal. And he chooses to settle down with this. Second, once she pops out a baby and puts this nigga through 5 years of hell in marriage, she's gonna divorce him, take half his money in alimony, and another 35% of his money in child support. Unfortunately, we've seen this far too many times. But the hell with it, man. Let him learn the hard way. Pause.
I got that thug in love.
Let them learn the hard way. That's the way these young guys like to do it. They don't want to listen to older guys. And you see, like, who's the guy that got with what's her face? That got with Future and Bow Wow's ex-baby mom. Who's the guy? Who he got all mad at Cameron when Cameron was trying to put him up on game? All these guys, all these athletes, bro. These niggas, I'm telling you. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. But these young niggas are lost. So if you are in your son's life, fellas, if your baby mama lets you be in your son's life, teach that nigga some game. Stop letting these niggas get game from their mama. Because it's ruining the whole economy. Niggas is out here listening to their mama, kissing these hoes' ass, and they gonna end up like Travis Hunter, and they gonna end up like the rest of these baby mama having ass athletes getting ran through the mud. Because they giving the wrong type of women respect. See, the type of women that these athletes are running into remind them of their raggedy ass mamas. That's who they remind them of. They remind these niggas of their raggedy ass mamas, and they got so much love for their mama that they think that, you know, this woman that reminds me of my mama is the best thing for me. But no, she's not. She's just like your mama. She don't got no man. She ran through every man she ever had because she has no concept of what it's like to cohabitate with a man, because she's probably 5 or 6 generations in to welfare culture. But anyways, I don't want to ramble on about that. Let's get to the next topic. Y'all get the point. All right, now real quick, I want to talk just a little bit about this Jay-Z situation, and then we'll move on to Daniel Penny and the Neely Jordan situation. All right, now, honestly, I don't know what to believe right now when it comes to this Jay-Z shit. I mean, to be honest, this looks like a shakedown case for sure. It looks like extortion. But clearly, my judgment can sometimes be off, because I was definitely wrong about the Cassie and Diddy situation. I was definitely wrong. But nonetheless, there aren't really enough facts out there for me to call it either way. However, I do know that where there's smoke, oftentimes there's fire. I mean, you got the rumors about Jay-Z and Foxy when she was 15, and yes, there have been denials on both sides, okay? But I just don't see myself as a damn near 30-year-old man interacting with a 15-year-old in any capacity. Especially doing songs with him, writing up those explicit lyrics. Like, it's weird. But it reminds me a lot of how the older niggas in DC was when I was a kid. See, when I was in middle school, and all them niggas is Jay-Z age. When I was in middle school and high school, it was grown-ass men picking up my classmates from school, and for the most part, they were all street niggas, right? That's what street niggas did. They picked up young girls from school. And we know this by his own admission that Jay was in fact a street nigga. Right? So this was normal behavior for them niggas back then. All right? Normal behavior for street niggas. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what Jay was doing. I'm not accusing him of that. I'm just putting this in context. I mean, shit. Even if you look at the age difference between Jay and Beyonce, he got her by like damn near 15 years, I think. I mean, he went on tour with and did a whole album with R. Kelly after the infamous PP tape. And if I'm not mistaken, they dropped the song Guilty and Proven Innocent after that as well. And it's ironic because R. Kelly was clearly guilty. Then there's the close relationship with Puff in the infamous freak-off parties. I mean, I'm not saying he's guilty, but the probability is definitely there. I think the bigger problem was the culture back then. I mean, look at the movie Belly, right? The movie Belly, DMX was dealing with a 16-year-old. And it wasn't even a big deal to people at the time. It wasn't a big deal, but it was a valid part of street life. And that's why they added it in there. But honestly, that shit wasn't just street niggas. It wasn't just street niggas. It was all types of teachers and counselors that was definitely smashing little girls. And in some cases, they was definitely smashing little boys.
Ain't nobody bending me over.
Oh, so you doing the bending?
I'm petty. But nah, seriously. I can remember when I was in junior high school or middle school, right? What they call it now is middle school, but back then we had junior high school, right? 7th, 8th, 9th grade, junior high, right? So in junior high school, there was a group of chicks that were in my grade. I won't name no names because they haven't made any complaints, right? But they were dealing with, I'll say, some prominent R&B singers who had a group out of Baltimore. Some prominent R&B singers who had a group out of Baltimore. These niggas was grown-ass men with hit songs and videos playing all over BET and MTV who were smashing children on a regular basis. And if someone were to file against them today, they would be well within their right because it was definitely happening. And I know that for a fact. And to be honest, I don't care if my stance on this makes me out to be a snitch, which it doesn't. But if it did, so what? I believe all sex offenders, especially ones that fool with kids, should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And depending on how young they are, I think we should consider the death penalty. I mean, as a man with daughters, I think this shit's sick. Now, like I said, I ain't saying that Jay-Z did it because there's not enough evidence at this point. There's not enough evidence. But I'm sorry, we just can't put it past them because we know how shit went in the 90s and early 2000s. We know how shit went down. Most people don't want to speak, most people won't say nothing. But I'm a witness. I seen how it went down. All the little bros I used to like, call me a hater. All the little bros, I'm like, man, they leaving with grown ass men. So I'm like, damn. I want to ask her to the dance. You know what I'm saying? My dumb ass, no clue. But yeah. Anyway, speaking about the law, let's talk about this case out in New York. We got Daniel Penny. The verdict came out. Now, if you haven't heard, today the jury reached a verdict on the Daniel Penny, Jordan Neely murder case situation. And just like I expected, Mr. Penny was acquitted, which he should have been. Just like I expected. Now, what I'm going to do first is, before I get into my actual thoughts, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play the body cam footage from NYPD that shows what witnesses on the scene the day it happened were saying right after the incident took place. All right, this is what they were saying to the police. I'm going to play that video, and then I'm going to get to some other videos. Then we're going to have the discussion. All right, give me a sec. All right. Here we go. Can y'all see that? All right, good. Here we go.
Then he came in, like, he put like his hand so he could come in, right? I guess he was pissed or something.
All right, now, once again, this is the footage right after right when the police came on the scene and started interviewing witnesses. All right, also, let me remind you guys, if you're watching live on X, hit that retweet button, hit that like button. If you're watching live on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's help get this video off in the algorithm. We still got a lot of show left to cover. We're going to cover this Trump interview after we get off this topic. That was a very crazy interview. We're gonna get into that. But anyway, like I said, hit that like button, hit that share button. And also don't forget to comment in the live chat. That also helps with the algorithm. Let's get it.
But I looked at him, right? And then he started taking off his sweater, dummy hard, and then he threw it. And then he told like everyone that he had like a rough day and that he don't care what happens today. He don't care about going to jail, but that someone's dying today.
She's talking about what Jordan Neely said, the guy who died.
It's a major key when somebody says that in a public setting.
Was that a fight at all? No, he came on the train. I was sitting right there. I was sitting next to everybody that was moving. That was the last one I was sitting. He came on the train. He was like, yo, I'm looking for food. I'm looking for this shit. Like, he was ready to risk it all, basically. He was like basically, he was going to tell the people about to hurt somebody. He's like, I'm ready to hurt somebody. I'm ready to do this. And you right here, like I said, I don't think he did nothing wrong.
I mean, we're witnessing person of color after person of color saying what happened. The dude was yelling out crazy shit like he wanted to hurt somebody. The brother right here just says, I don't think he did nothing wrong. Let's go.
Everybody
don't think he did nothing wrong.
Everybody saw him. He came in and he tried to this while the cop was coming. They took Matt, everybody, I was falling out home. Yeah. They took man on the cop. He was trying to resist him on somebody came. They took man on.
So people were trying to get police to come. Police took forever, and he's trying to restrain them.
He was ready to, like, I see him take he got on the train, he dropped his phone, he's like, I'm ready to hurt anybody, I'm hungry, I'm ready to go back to $100. And dude got up, he saw he was about to hurt somebody, and he got up and he restrained him. And he was trying to hurt somebody. I don't know what. You saw everything on I'll see what you. No, you saw everything, okay? This is right here. Yeah. Okay, what did you see?
What did I see? I was sitting up there, I heard the young man that's on the floor saying, you know, hey, I'm willing to die, you know? I'll do anything. I'm willing to die. I'll go to jail. I don't care.
So the man is, so Jordan Neely is screaming, I'm willing to die, I'm willing to die, I'm gonna kill somebody, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. This is multiple person after multiple person stating what happened. And oh yeah, they're all black.
I don't care. And he was saying it so loud that everyone turned around. So the young man, he got belligerent and he tackled him down. He was tackled in the brown jacket.
She's identifying Neely.
The guy in the brown jacket.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me, Penny.
You got a guy to the briefs. You got a brown jacket, hand jacket. Take him to the briefs right now. And take him away. He took him to the ground. The guy with the brown jacket took him to the ground.
Yeah, he took him around. Not a hard chokehold, just enough to secure him. And
not a hard chokehold.
And he kept holding him. All right, and then that's when everybody totally realized what was going on. And I think these guys on drugs, you know, because when he came in, he was unbelievably off the charts. He scared the living daylights out.
Off the charts.
How did he bring him down to the ground? Like he picked him up and.
I mean, so y'all get the point. Y'all get the point, right? So that's the footage from the witnesses on the scene. It clearly looks as if the witnesses' statements equate with the acquittal. However, your black extreme left, along with BLM New York City, are trying their hardest to turn this into something that it is not. Okay? Hold on real quick. Let me show you this first video. This is going to be a video with Mark Lamont Hill on the Piers Morgan show. Check this out. This is Mark Lamont Hill on the Piers Morgan show. Give me a second. All right, here we go. Mark Lamont Hill on the Piers Morgan show. Listen to this crazy ass explanation.
You don't need to be a social scientist to know that there is zero evidence of any racial motivation for what Daniel Penny did. So people who are trying to infer it, that somehow, as the founder of BLM in New York says, if you think he's innocent, you're a racist, and the KKK just got another victory. I'm not a social scientist, but I know that's horseshit.
Right. Again, the statement from the BLM person in New York, I don't share, I don't echo, I don't agree with.
Now listen, real quick, I gotta warn you guys. Y'all gotta listen to this. This is one of the biggest crocs of shit I have ever heard on live television, ever. And I don't know how Mark Lamont Hill does this shit with a straight face. I really don't know how he does it, but he does.
You're asking me to defend a statement that I don't agree with. The statement that I am making, that you and I should be engaging, is the issue of implicit bias and the issue of use of force. There is
what bias?
There is. I said implicit bias.
Okay, just let's extrapolate that. You think if Jordan Neely had been white and came on that subway, right, and was acting like a deranged lunatic, as he was, but if he'd been white, do you think that Daniel Penny wouldn't have intervened? Because that's what you're implying.
That's not what I'm implying.
Now listen, he says that's not what he's implying. So if that's not what you're implying, there should be nothing else to say. But they gotta make something out of nothing, right? They have to try to justify this nonsense to keep the dollars flowing. What? Listen to this shit.
What I'm saying
bias
is,
then? Where's the bias?
Okay.
Where's
implicit bias? That's not what implicit. Okay. Let me use it. It's clear that you don't understand what implicit bias is, so let me just use a different word. With all due respect.
Hat on.
If you just let me finish the sentence, I promise you'll hear me. What I'm saying is that I have no reason to believe that he was motivated by race or that he was not motivated by race. But the idea that someone could be motivated by race is not outside of the realm of possibility based on ample data that shows that people are more likely to use force against black people, that they tend to believe that black bodies are stronger and more physically resilient, and therefore they think they have to hold them in chokeholds longer. There's plenty of police data that shows that, including New York Police Department data.
Yeah. Okay. Now, he said a whole lot of nothing here, right? But let's just say what he was saying is true, and maybe it is. What does that have to do with the fact that Jordan Neely threatened everybody on the train and Daniel Penny neutralized the threat? What does that have to do with anything? Somebody said, Elizabeth Moultrie says, Neely is a hero. Okay. I mean, listen, I wouldn't say a hero. I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he did what he should have did. You know what I mean? But a hero, I mean, I think he did what any decent person would do. Like, you know, slap this dude out, get him on the ground, get him up out of here. Right? I definitely think he's a good guy. I mean, if you think he's a hero, that's fine. Me personally, I wouldn't go as far as to say hero, but he stepped up to the plate. And for that, I mean, he does deserve some recognition. For sure. But just listening to the way that these people that Mark Lamont Hill is trying to I don't even know what he's trying to do, because he's saying that he doesn't think it was racism, but then he makes the point that it's implicit bias. Like, y'all gotta understand, the more and more that black people try to defend this shit, the weaker and weaker it makes any other claim that you may want to have in the future for something that might be valid. What happened in New York City is not racism. But anyway, I want to get to this next video. This is from News Nation, and this is a video where they interviewed Black Lives Matter, the head of Black Lives Matter, New York City, Shavonna Newsom. All right, let's get to it. Give me a second. Damn it. All right, here we go.
So do you not blame Jordan Neely at all? I mean, for what he did? He deserves no blame from your perspective, right?
Did you hear the witness testimony?
All right, can y'all see that? All right, cool. We got it up. All right, listen to this. Listen to this craziness. Listen to this craziness.
I'm asking
or
you
are
a
you
question.
cherry picking the ones?
I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Jordan Neely at all for his conduct?
If Jordan Neely was a white man, we'd be saying it was an opioid crisis. He was hungry. He was mentally ill. He had a muffin in his pocket.
I wouldn't be if there were other. What about the witnesses? Let's play again, just so we're clear on the race.
Play Eddie Gibson, who begged Daniel Neely to stop.
Oh, again, but he stayed there throughout the incident.
Play the ones that fit the narrative.
But what's the narrative? There's black women who were on the subway. It was mostly people of color on the subway.
What about a white man during cross-examination who said that he was afraid of Daniel Penny, the one who poured water onto his head and said that he was afraid? He was a white man.
Yeah, okay, so...
What about the Latino man who was holding his arms?
I'm not the one identifying everyone by race. You are. You're the one who keeps telling... Why? Why do you have to? There was nothing in this case.
The FBI, when you look at when hate crimes happen, when you look at when injustice happened to black people,
but let's agree.
Don't get justice.
Let's agree to some. Look.
All right, real quick. Elizabeth Moultrie says, if you ride the subways, you know the Marine was a protector. And that's why people run away when innocent people are being attacked by subway lunatics. Facts. Facts. No argument. No argument. No argument there. No argument there. He did the right thing. He did the right thing. If I could get a clear shot on that motherfucker, I would have did it too. For sure. Also, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, if you're on YouTube, I've posted the link in the chat below. The next topic is going to be a reaction to the Trump NBC News video. If you would like to join the panel and join in on the discussion about with Trump in the NBC interview, click the link, and when we start that segment, I'll let you join in and we can all discuss it at the same time. All right? So if you're interested, click that link. All right, let's get back to this video.
I'm going to be doing a segment later this week on a missing black woman who has not been getting nearly enough attention.
Send it to me and I'll share them.
No, but by the media.
Absolutely.
Because I understand that, and to that degree, you have a fair point about the way sometimes the media and the justice system handles. But not in this case. This case, even the prosecutors conceded Daniel Penny had every right to go hands-on, and the question became, okay, when should he have stopped? I understand that.
The time frame on that
right.
from the DA's office was after 30 seconds. Can you not concede that Daniel Penny was a trained killer, that he not have his gray belt? United States Marine Corps is an assassin?
Sure, but
he knew.
Every Marine is a trained
because
assassin.
Actually, black Marines and white Marines have reached out and actually told us he went too far.
But going too far is different from criminal.
Let me break it down. A chokehold, a blood chokehold, which he did. You're only supposed to hold someone in that move for 8 to 13 seconds. Yeah. You're not supposed to do it longer than 2 minutes. Why did Daniel Penny, when the train was completely clear, everyone was on the platform, why did he hold it for nearly 6 minutes?
Because he was scared.
He was a Marine is scared of of someone he labeled as a crackhead.
Again, is it not possible that Daniel Penny, when he's doing this on the spot, stepping up to help people of many different races, moves in and doesn't have a clock with him to decide when he should stop and when he shouldn't, which is why, in the end, the jury acquitted, right?
No, actually, Daniel Penny was trained very well by the United States.
Okay, and I gotta stop this. This is just foolishness. This is complete foolishness. This is complete foolishness, and this is what these people do. They're not interested at all in getting to the bottom of anything when it comes to black folks. What I want to do real quick, I want to show y'all one more little video of a protest. Right? I want to show y'all this protest real quick. It's on my Instagram. Hold on. I want to show y'all how just ridiculous that this has gotten. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They're protesting on the train tracks in the New York City subway. Ridiculous. 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 telling you, man, you can't make none of this up. You really can't. You really can't. You really can't make none of this shit up, man. So, I mean, I'll just put it to you like this, man. Here's my take, right? All that you're seeing here, especially when it comes to Black Lives Matter, is an attempt at a grift to make more money. There were a ton of black people who were on the scene who testified under oath that on the body cam footage that Jordan Neely asked for, that Jordan Neely was on, he asked for this shit. Jordan Neely asked for it. You can't go on a random subway train and profess to wanting to kill people and expect no one to take you up on your offer. There is nobody to blame in this situation except Jordan Neely. Yes, Mr. Neely had an unfortunate set of circumstances in life. But that doesn't give him a pass to just go around hurting people with no consequences just because. Jordan Neely had a ridiculous criminal record, including 42 arrests, 42 charges, including petty larceny, jumping subway turnstiles, theft, and 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 unprovoked assaults on women in the subway between 2019 and 2021. Between 2019 and 2021, he was whipping women's ass in the subway system for no reason. And we're supposed to be mourning this dude like he's some type of martyr. No. When you do stupid shit, you get stupid prizes. That's race-wide. Doesn't matter what your race is. Just because you're black and you got unfortunate circumstances doesn't mean you get to harm other people with impunity. It doesn't mean that. Long story short, this ain't got a goddamn thing to do with racism. So all you silly ass race hustlers are doing is damaging the already low credibility that black folks have when it comes to situations like this. It's niggas like you that never know when to draw and when to hold. You come out guns a-blazing every single time because at the end of the day, you niggas will never toss up an opportunity to get some attention. It's attention. It's all about attention. In today's climate, attention equals money. And that's been BLM's MO since Mike Brown. With all the blacks being murdered in this country on a daily basis by other blacks, you would think they would be busy fighting real injustices. But they don't. Because when you add race into it, it makes for a bigger story, which in turn brings in bigger dollars, which in turn brings in bigger houses for their leaders and more money to fund movements that literally have nothing to do with actually helping black men in dire situations. Dire situations such as Jordan Neely was in. Jordan Neely was a black male in a dire situation. His mother died when he was 14 years old. So he was basically left to live on the streets since then. Where was Black Lives Matter to help him out with that? Where were the Democrats to help him out with that? Better yet, Jordan Neely's father, who wasn't even in his life, is suing Daniel Penny for wrongful death, blaming this all on Daniel Penny when, sir, your son was on the streets since the age of 14 when his mother died, and you were nowhere to be found. You ought to sue yourself. You ought to sue yourself and give the money to Jordan Neely's other victims. But instead, this is what Negroes do. You make all of us look like pieces of shit because you take a situation, a complicated situation that had a simple solution, and you turn it into this big racial event that everybody can see is bullshit. But since you niggas want attention, and since you niggas want to turn the attention into money to funnel your fraudulent organization, we all gotta suffer. This is why I disconnect, this is why I don't claim the community any longer. I love y'all niggas, but I only claim to be an American because there's too many of us that sit back and let shit like this fly, like it's cool, and I can't do it. I can't sit back and watch the community that my great-great-grandparents, grandparents, parents fought to better. They fought to better us. And now all we do is, it seems like we just fight for attention. None of these people that you see on social media or on the news who are claiming to be black rights activists, they don't care about you. They care about the money in their pockets. Tamika Mallory, right? Until Justice, or whatever the hell her company is called. She don't care about you either. She has an endorsement deal with Cadillac. Better yet, do you see Tamika Mallory, this chick that we just had on the screen from Black Lives Matter New York, Mark Lamont Hill? Do you see any of these people in the hood when black men are getting slaughtered on a daily basis? Do you see any of them? No, you don't. Because there ain't no money in actually trying to solve the problems of the black community. There's no money in it. There's only money in making you a victim. But anyways, let me direct you. If you're on YouTube, let me direct you guys to the chat. If you look down, if you look at the top of the chat, if you guys want to join the discussion that we're about to have about the Trump interview on NBC, hit the link. I'll let you in. We getting ready to go in. We getting ready to do it. So give me a second. Let me get that shit up, and we're gonna do this Trump interview. This Trump interview was crazy, right? I didn't see all of it. I saw a few clips on my Instagram feed and on my Twitter feed, but I didn't see it in totality. So what I want to do, I want to watch it in real time and do a reaction live with you guys. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if not, we're going to sit back, we're going to watch Trump, we're going to give our thoughts on it, and we're going to have a good time. But first, what we're going to do is we are going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, all right? Quick commercial break. we're back. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go straight into the Trump situation on NBC. We are not going to worry about the links. I mean, if you guys hit the link and you want to call in, that's fine. But we're just gonna go straight into it. So, without wasting any more time, let's get it.
Thank you very much.
President-elect Donald Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. You are the first president since Grover Cleveland to win non-consecutive terms. Republicans now have...
And I want y'all to pay attention to this because some of the clips I saw online, she was getting real snappy with this, man. But I like the way he answered the questions in the clips I saw online. But like I said, this is my first time watching the whole thing in real time. So we'll do this together. Let's get it.
Control of the House and the Senate.
Right.
What do you plan to accomplish in your first 100 days in office?
Well, we're going to do something with the border, very strong, very powerful. That'll be our first signal, and the first signal to America that we're not playing games. We have people coming in by the millions, as you know, and a lot of people shouldn't be here. Most of them shouldn't be here, but we have jails being emptied into our country. We have mental institutions from all over the world being emptied into our country. So we'll be doing that. We're going to be extending within that period, or as soon as we can, the Trump tax cuts, because, you know, they're coming due and they're very substantial for people. And it would be very, I think it will anger a lot of people, frankly, if we don't get an extension of that. That's what led us to one of the greatest economies ever. And those two things are going to be very vital, very important. We're going to be focusing on crime in the cities, and we'll work with Democrat governors. Most of them are, as you know, if you look at the 25 worst places, they're just about all Democrat-controlled cities and states. And we're going to be working with Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. And
that's a fact. If you look it up, like I know my homie Cosby Digital that's on the show often always likes to say that it's all the Republican jurisdictions. He says the states, but no, what he fails to realize is that Republican states and cities are pretty safe. It's the Democrat jurisdictions within those Republican states that are unsafe. It's the Democrat jurisdictions within Republican states that have piss poor education. That's the problem, because liberals don't believe in law and order. They believe in handouts and pacifying people so they can one day lead you into a communist state. Period. But let's go. Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, let me also remind you, if you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and also hit the share button. Help us get into the algorithm. Also, if you're on Twitter, do the same. All right? We popping on Twitter right now, too. Let's get it.
I look forward to doing it, but we have to do something about crime, and mostly in our cities. And we're going to have a lot of other things. We'll be working on nominations. We're going to still be working on some nominations. I think they're going very well. We have, for the most part, I think they're going extremely well. It looks like Peter's doing well now. I mean, people were a little bit concerned. He's a young guy with a tremendous track record, actually. Went to Princeton and went to Harvard. He was a good student at both, but he loves the military, and I think people are starting to see it. So we'll be working on his nomination along with a lot of others.
We are going to delve into your nominations, but since you bring him up, do you still have confidence in Pete Hegseth?
Yes, I do. I really do. He's a very smart guy. I've known him through Fox, but I've known him for a long time. And he's basically a military guy. I mean, every time I talk to him, all he wants to talk about is the military. He's a military guy. I used to kid him about it. I didn't think we'd be in this position where he may be, hopefully will be Secretary of Defense. But every time I was with him, he was fighting for soldiers, where he said some soldier was unjustly put in prison because they were really doing what they were taught to do, in some cases. So, yeah, I think he's going to do fine.
The fact that there are these allegations against him, misconduct, sexual misconduct, heavy drinking, the fact that he said to some senators reportedly he'll stop drinking if he gets this job, does that worry you?
No, I think that everybody has something that they can stop. Some people can stop eating. I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I could stop eating. And we all want to stop doing something. And if he said that, I mean, that's a nice thing to say. That's a good thing to say. But he's very respected. I can tell you, I know a lot of the people at Fox.
I want to stop it right there. I just find it crazy how they are literally, like, they literally try the same tactics every time when it comes to someone that Trump tries to appoint, or just someone related to Trump, right? They're either, if they can't get you on the sexual assault, they'll try to attack your personal character, right? But meanwhile, there's a ton of Democrats. Number one, Nancy Pelosi, who's known to be a drunk. But they're not talking about that in the news every day. Right? When you're talking about, especially a person like Nancy Pelosi, this woman, they literally made an app after Nancy Pelosi's stock picks. Because it's clear that she's doing insider trading, allegedly. But they want to try to tear down all of Trump's picks over remedial, small, stupid crap that hasn't amounted to nothing. But they overlook everything that they do. And that's why they're going to continue to lose, because people are seeing through it. And I don't know how they don't get it at this point. I don't know how this chick on NBC doesn't get it. These people are losing ratings left and right because they refuse to report the news accurately. And one thing that I've noticed already, based on her questions, is that she doesn't appear to be reporting the news accurately either. Look at the way she's asking him questions. It's like all she's doing is trying to bait him into another aha, I got you moment. She's trying to bait him into questions that she thinks that she can fact check him on. But so far, Trump is answering them like gold. To be honest with you, I've never seen Trump sharper than this. Like, he's on it. And I'm not saying that he wasn't sharp back in the last campaign, but at this point, he's ready for the media and their tricks and their games. So he's not just off the hip, boom, 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 with comments. He's thinking about it. He's not committing to anything, but he's giving logical answers and things that are probable to happen. But he's not saying they're definite.
They think he's fantastic. And the people that work with him, really, they love him. So I think you're going to have somebody that's really terrific. And again, all he talked about with me, I said, you're not really a television guy, even though he did very well, as you know. You're really a military guy. He said, I'm all about the military. And I told him, so he's making a lot of money at Fox. They're doing very well. And I said, if for some reason you don't get this thing, you're not going to be able to go back. And all that money you're making, you can kiss it goodbye. He said, this is all about America. He didn't say, well, let me think about it, let me discuss it. That's a very big, risky thing he's doing. When he goes and he says, I'm going to give up, millions of dollars in order to possibly become the Secretary of Defense. A lot of people would say it's a great position. It's probably almost no greater position, but a lot of people would say, I have to think about it. He said, I don't have to think about it.
All right, we're going to delve into your cabinet picks a little bit later, but I want to delve into one of your signature promises on the campaign trail, which was to end inflation, to lower prices. You are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation. In fact, when I handed it over, they didn't have inflation for a year and a half. They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too much. So I think we will. I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries?
That is absolutely insane that we're subsidizing Canada at $100 billion a year and Mexico at 300. No disrespect to Mexico, but okay, if we're giving these countries all this money per year, I agree with Trump. They should just be states. We're giving them all this money this year, and we're also allowing them low rates of trade into our country. So not only are we subsidizing them, we're also giving them access to the biggest market in the world, the biggest consumer base in the world. And I agree with Trump. Something has to be done. Something has to be done. We need to recoup our money. We're spending too much goddamn money on other countries. Hold on real quick, ladies and gentlemen. We got a guest here. Give me a second. We got King Khufu in the house. Let me get him on the stage real quick. Give me a second. All right, boom. We got King Khufu. What's good? What's good, bro?
Ain't
too much. Hold on, let me fix his audio real quick. All right. Ain't too much, man. How's everything?
Man, beautiful. It's beautiful. Can't complain too much.
You been following this interview so far?
I saw part of it earlier, but all I can say is you just off the offset. He was kind of correcting the moderator. I mean the interview and everything, man. He was. I love this dude, man. But nah.
Facts. Let's go. All right. Well, look, I'm gonna get the video back up, and let's go. Let's get it.
If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your first administration cost Americans some $80 billion. And now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us. They also solve another problem. If we were going to have problems having to do with wars and having to do with other things, tariffs, I have stopped wars with tariffs by saying, you guys want to fight, it's great, but both of you are going to pay tariffs to the United States at 100%. And they have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman. I say properly used. But it didn't cost this country anything. It made this country money, and we never really got the chance to go all out because we had to fight COVID in the last part.
I'm going to stop him right there. And I agree with him because, so first of all, when you make people pay tariffs, right, that does two things. Number one, it definitely brings in more money, right? But what it also does is it increases competition within the country. For instance, when President Trump put a tariff on Chinese steel, guess what happened to U.S. steel?
Went up.
It rose like the Undertaker, rose from the dead.
Right, that's true.
The problem is Americans have to, like, when you got a president like Trump, Americans can't be lazy. Oh, hold on real quick. We got another guest here. Shout out to my boy Passport Bros, economy class. What's good, bro?
Yes, good evening, brother. How you been?
Not too bad. Still talking shit, like as you per usual, sir. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing my best job to continue talking shit.
I like that, man. So have you been following so far?
Oh, of course, yeah. I was following this situation, the Daniel Penny situation, and yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're a New Yorker. Real quick, I hate to get off the Trump situation, but I would like your opinion on it. As a matter of fact, you want to wait till we're done with Trump, or you want to do that now?
Which would you rather do? You want to?
It's up to you, man. Shit.
Well, one thing about Trump. Let me just say this about this interview. She kept on trying to nail him down and try to get him to say that he wasn't basically going to seek retribution against anybody. Of course, he's not going to agree to that shit. But Biden may have pardoned Hunter, or is going to give him a pardon, but I don't believe that Biden can actually pardon him for crimes that he has not been actually convicted of. So it looked like what they're trying to do is trying to give him cover so that he couldn't be investigated or brought up on charges for being with Burisma and peddling influence. But the issue ultimately is that the presidential pardon forces you to have to actually come with an actual person to pardon and a crime to pardon. So the thing about it is Biden may not be able to do that. He may be able to pardon him for the gun crime, but he may not be able to pardon him for any and all crimes he may have, he may be guilty of with when he was working at Burisma and Ukraine oil and gas. So the thing about it is, I don't know if Trump will go after Hunter Biden, but the thing about it is he doesn't really have to. If the Justice Department decides that they want to investigate him for peddling influence or quid pro quo, they possibly could, because it's obvious Biden was in on it with him. It's obvious. So by attempting to pardon him for periods of time exceeding what he's actually been convicted for, you obviously know that they've been corrupt for a very long time, and since Biden was vice president, back when Obama was president, so it's very possible that could backfire, and Hunter Biden could still possibly end up in jail.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was
where he should be
anyway. I mean, you pardoned him from January 1st, 2014, when his crimes that he was accused of were 2016 and 2018. What he's convicted of was 2016 to 2018. But you go back to 2014, it's like, I mean, I get it. Biden's an old ass man. He's like, you know what, the hell with it. I mean, I'm gonna roll the dice. I mean, if I was him, I was on my deathbed too, I'd roll the dice too. Fuck it. Pardon me.
He's trying to tie it up in the courts, but the simple fact is you can't pardon somebody if they haven't been convicted of a crime.
Yeah,
that's true.
But he tried to pardon him for future crimes, which is insane. Like, totally.
But you can't. You really cannot do that. Like, you absolutely can't do that.
I mean, I think he's going to find out the hard way.
Yeah, I don't think that Pam Bondi is about to play with him.
But you know what's so funny about Trump, though? I had, it's funny. My uncle, because a lot of people in my family are your typical New York Trump hating liberals, right? So my uncle calls me up because I've been laughing in their faces basically about they believe Trump was going to prison, right? And I was telling them a long time ago, I was like, listen, no U.S. president is ever going to prison. And I realized that a long time ago because I don't know if you remember, and it's kind of funny how I draw these conclusions. You remember the movie Independence Day? And you remember how the president was asking, why wasn't I told about this place? And he said it's because of plausible deniability. The government has built-in self-protection. The government has ways of protecting itself. It will never send a U.S. president to jail. That's why the Supreme Court had to basically come out and say, yeah, the presidency has immunity. They made it so that if you have a president, he could drop a nuke on Japan. He could start a war over here, start a war over there. He could kill dictators, this, that, and other. You cannot prosecute him once he comes back to civilian life. You can't do it. So the simple fact is, these people were stupid enough. Bragg, Letitia James, these people were stupid enough to attempt to bring charges against the presidency. And now that Trump has won, specifically that he's won, like, they're trying to keep the charges for the hush money alive. I think
she's an idiot.
A couple of years, no, but these people were trying to make their names. They were like, yeah, we're going to be the people who finally got Donald Trump. it's like they just don't get it. They were up against the government, and the government was never going to let that happen.
Nah, no way.
It was never going to let that happen.
I mean,
first, there you go.
You're right about the government, but like it stops at the Supreme Court. Okay, let's say you did convict Trump. The Supreme Court is no way in hell they're upholding those charges.
Right. At all.
Well, no. Well, first of all, the charges themselves should actually be thrown out.
I mean, they made up charges. The 34 felonies that he did get convicted of were made up on the spot.
Again, and all of those, as far as I can see, all of those are eventually going to be probably vacated. But the reality is that the Supreme Court already basically ruled. While he was president and he was trying to call, apparently, to look for votes, that was done while he was president. So because the fact he was president while he was doing that, that automatically falls under presidential immunity. The only way to have held him accountable was to impeach him. They didn't impeach him for that. They impeached him for January 6th. And they impeached him for the quid pro quo. And both of those were unsuccessful impeachments. So the problem that they have, as long as this is a Republican-dominated Senate and a Republican-dominated House, there's nothing they can do. They can bring up impeachment charges, but there's nothing they can do about it.
I mean, honestly, it's a fucking crapshoot.
Yeah, Trump is absolutely corrupt. I honestly understand that. But the Biden family, the Clinton family, and some might argue the Obama family have been equally corrupt. It's like you're trying to throw him out of the corruption club, and he's not having it. And the problem is now he has a mandate. So he certainly, he just might come after him.
I mean, I would say that Trump is probably the least corrupt.
Well, I can't. I don't know how much you know about the pardon that they gave to Kushner's father, I believe. Basically, it was this guy videotaped. One of them got. I'll try to get it together, but one of them got videotaped cheating and having sex with somebody, and then he sent it to his sister, right? But this dude ended up getting a pardon, and now he's going to be like the ambassador to France or something. It's like so twisted, like it's just so twisted. It's all a mess. But see, when they were pointing at Trump's corruption, they were pointing at the fact that he was using a lot of services. Like he was using a lot of civil services and everything. Just like when they pointed at Obama and they were like, oh yeah, well you took Air Force One on a date with Michelle. But that's only like the tip of the iceberg. It's like the influence peddling and all that stuff, all of them will just keep pointing fingers at each other. But bottom line is, corruption or no corruption, we voted for him. And he won. So if he seeks retribution against Biden and Hunter, they'll just have to deal with it. Now, I personally don't think he's going to do that within the first 2 years, but the justice system just might.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's play a little bit more, and just let me know whenever you want to stop and react, because this shit is gold.
And we did it very successfully. And when I handed it over to Biden, the stock market was higher than what it was just previous to COVID coming in. It was actually higher. Tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Well, again, prices did go up on some goods in your first administration, washing machines, tires. Will you punish CEOs?
Let me just explain to you. No. You mentioned washing machines. So you look at Whirlpool in Ohio. I got a call from Jim Jordan, one of the greats, congressman from Ohio. And he said, they're going out of business because South Korea and China are dumping washing machines into our country. And I put a 50% tariff on the washing machines coming in from China and South Korea. And Whirlpool and the companies that made washing machines, which are based in Ohio, largely based in Ohio, went through the roof. We saved thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. They were all going out of business because they were dumping washing machines. And when I put the tariffs on, they became successful businesses. No, it didn't. Not only didn't it cost people, it made our country stronger and more powerful, and it kept jobs.
But how do you make sure that consumers don't wind up paying more? Will you punish CEOs who try to pass the cost of tariffs on to their customers?
Well, the market's going to take care of it. I mean, actually, the market takes care of it. And if it doesn't, we adjust it somewhat. But in the case of Whirlpool, or let's say companies that made washing machines, they were all being put out of business by the dumping from, in particular, South Korea and China. And when I put the tariffs on, very substantial tariffs, although peanuts compared to what people do to us, what countries do to us, it became a very, very powerful, successful company. Now, let's say I didn't do the tariffs. It would have gone out of business. You would have lost tens of thousands of jobs, and you don't include that in your equation. No, they make a lot of money. I'll go a step further. Tariffs are going to make our country rich. Tariffs are going to help us pay off $35 trillion in debt. Tariffs are going to make our country safe because China, as an example, doesn't want to play games with us if we're going to do tariffs on them. They don't want to play games. And we have a lot of games being played on us right now.
Well, I think.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. What do you think about that?
All right. So what he's basically saying is he believes in the free market, and he believes that whatever price that the tariffs add to the cost of us buying, he believes that they'll figure it out and they'll somehow either make the product less expensive to meet the same price that the tariffs raised it to, or what they'll do is they'll figure out some way that they can still produce the stuff and make it not so expensive that we don't buy it all. Right now, to tell you the truth, it's too honest. It's too early to really know whether or not the tariffs are going to make a huge difference, because one of the things you got to understand is we've basically been outsourcing a lot of our inflation by handing other companies in other countries a lot of cash money for their handmade goods. So for the most part, they've been suckers because they've been taking our cash and they've been giving us washing machines, cars, and so forth and so on, right? So the issue is, when that money finally does come back to us, we see it as in these people come over here and they buy up all our freaking houses and they buy up all of our stores, and we don't understand where they're getting this money from. The simple fact is we've been sending this money to them for years, right? The Chinese specifically do that. They'll buy up your whole damn block. So what I do believe, some people are saying, oh yeah, tariffs are just protectionism and it's just going to raise the cost of everything. Well, one of the things you got to understand is a lot of people shop way too much. A lot of people spend a lot of their money, and we're living like a quality of life that our own productivity doesn't justify. Like, if you think about what the stuff you got in your house, you got all the shit made in China, you got all the stuff made in all these other countries, right? And all of it was bought on the cheap, but at the expense of going deeper and deeper and deeper into debt, right? So, and I've had that argument with people, and I'd be like, you know what? Maybe that means that you just won't spend as much money as you used to spend. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be money on the table. The corporations are just going to have to figure out how to make the prices low enough for us to be able to, go out and afford what they're selling. Like, when you have people like Kamala Harris, claiming that they're price gouging, right? Corporations really don't price gouge. They're trying to beat each other. And they're trying to do it by giving you the lowest possible price that you're willing to buy by matching up a certain level of quality. They're not trying to rip you off. Otherwise, like, the price of toilet paper would be about $30. They're not trying to do that. They're trying to give you a lower price. So that's what he's basically saying. He's basically saying the corporations will figure it out, but he's trying to say that he's doing this to show these other countries that he's not going to back down from them. And that if they don't make their products here, then, he's going to charge them up the ass for it.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think that actually makes sense. But I think it's going to take a level of non-laziness from the population, because I feel like he's given us the play, but do you think that the American public is going to be able to capitalize. Because if he does put tariffs on all these places, there's opportunity for everyone in America to make more money off our own consumerism. But do you think we have the, I would say, mental capacity to even want to do it?
And when you say capitalize during his tariffs, what do you mean?
So, for instance, I brought up a point earlier where in his last administration, he put a tariff on Chinese steel, right?
Uh-huh.
If you tariff Chinese steel, you bring back U.S. steel. But is U.S. steel ready to produce the amount of steel that the Chinese steel was bringing?
Oh, so no. So basically, what you're saying is
the tariffs will give a lot of opportunities. I'm asking if we're ready to seize the day on those opportunities.
Is America ready? The answer is no.
Okay.
Because first of all, here's the question: where is the wealth of Americans working in a steel factory? Where do you point out the U.S. steel factories and point out how many people we got working at U.S. steel factories?
Probably little to none.
Yeah, you see, the thing for a very long time, and you probably noticed, like in some of these states, abandoned houses were getting like metal ripped out of them, like copper. People cutting the goddamn copper out of the electric vehicle charging stations, and they were sending all of this metal to China, and China was actually making finished goods out of it. It was almost as if China was treating America as if it was a colony. And the reality is, China is fully fired up and ready with factories everywhere. They're fully ready to make whatever needs to be made. America is still complaining about having to let illegal immigrants in because most Americans don't want to do the jobs that they're willing to do. That's where we're at. See, any other country, they'd have these people in prison working hard time building steel. Like they'd have them doing hard labor, doing stuff like that. America, oh, well, we can't make the prisoners work and we have to hire illegal aliens because regular Americans don't want to do these jobs. So how quickly are you going to, make, but I will say this, when you do put tariffs on the goods, what he's basically saying is like, if you want to bring BMWs to America, then you should be building them here. And in many cases, that already happens. Like you have Toyota in Mississippi, you've got BMW building like X7s and stuff on our shores, right? What the tariffs would do is it would make them manufacture on our soil rather than building in Germany and then shipping it over. But see, the way around that is you build the product where you want to build it, but you assemble it somewhere else so that it beats the tariff. So the corporations is not stupid. They'll figure out a way around this. They're not stupid. They'll figure out how to make the product less expensive, or they'll take less profit for the short period of time just in order to get more people into their product. But the corporations, they have multi-million-dollar wings of their businesses figuring this type of stuff out. So, if he does put tariffs on these products, it's right now it's just a threat. But when he actually starts to actually do it, if he starts to do it, it's going to be a tax. Somebody's going to swallow it. It might be us. It might be them. Right now, you just don't know.
Facts. Okay. All right. I'll go with that.
And that takes me to my next question. Yeah. Are you actually going to impose these tariffs, or are they a negotiating tactic?
Well, I'll give you an example. With Canada, and in particular Mexico, we have millions of people pouring into our country. You agree with that? I spoke with I spoke with Justin Trudeau. In fact, he flew to Mar-a-Lago within about 15 seconds after the call ended. Yeah. He was at Mar-a-Lago. We were having dinner talking about it. I said, you have to close up your borders because they're coming in the northern border too a lot. Not like the southern border, but they're coming in the Canadian border a lot. And drugs are pouring in. Almost as importantly, drugs are pouring in, maybe more importantly, Drugs are pouring in at levels never seen before, 10 times what we had. They're just pouring in. We can't have open borders. And I said to the president of Mexico and to Justin Trudeau, if it doesn't stop, I'm going to put tariffs on your country at about 25%. That's a very substantial tariff. And in both cases, but in the case where it was really visible, within 10 minutes after that phone call, we noticed that the people coming across the border, the southern border, having to do with Mexico, they were at a trickle, just a trickle. It was, in fact, I call the border. See, unlike my opponent, I do call the border a lot. And I said, how's the border looking today? They said, there's nobody here. They couldn't believe it. The military stopped these vast groups of people. You know, we call them caravans, but they had caravans of people, and they largely stopped them. Now, they're going to have to continue that, but if they don't continue, and the other thing I told them is no more drugs, and I told that to China, too. I had to deal with President Xi. Had the election been different, I'm going to be very nice because we don't have to get into an argument over 2020, but had the election been different, the result been different, we would have had China giving the maximum penalty, which is the penalty of death, to people that sent fentanyl into this country. But Biden didn't, unfortunately, finish that discussion up. I had an agreement with President Xi, who I got along with very well. We've had communication as recently as this week. And I had communication with him where they were going to give the death penalty to anybody sending drugs into the United States.
This week you had that conversation.
Not that conversation, but I had other conversations. Okay. But in the past, I've had that conversation.
Let me ask you about another aspect.
Wow. Now, okay, here's what I find interesting. He just said the tariffs are going to do this. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But I had a conversation with President Xi. And I said, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. And she just immediately changes the subject. Like, that is insane to me.
Yeah, well, they're not. These people are not on his side. I think we all understand that. And you know, when he speaks, especially when he speaks at length like that, I don't detect any lies there. Like, it's funny because most of these goddamn fact checkers, oh yeah, this is a lie. They're counting the number of lies he's telling, right? I'm taking him for face value, and I detect no lies. I've lived in China. I know what they do to drug traffickers over there. They do execute them, right? I'll never understand whether or not, like, China specifically as a country wanted to allow fentanyl to come to America, or if it was just done underhandedly to make money, and they just somehow worked with people who are shipping stuff into America, because fentanyl has killed so many people that it makes COVID look like a picnic, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never understand how white people allowed that to happen. I mean, young white people, because of fentanyl, were piling up like raw chicken, and I just don't understand how they allowed this to happen for so long.
I run people dead on fentanyl all the time, bro. All the time. It's clockwork.
You're a cop?
I said I'm a fireman.
Oh, you're a fireman. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, it's every day. Like, every time I go to work, it's at least, not that I'm running at least 7, but it's at least 7 a day. Every time I go to work, at least 7's a good day.
I personally do not understand a couple of things about fentanyl. First of all, I don't understand how, like, white America allowed that to come in here and start killing white Americans. That's number one. Number two, I don't understand how, considering how deadly it is, that people take a chance on something that's that powerful. That I just don't understand. But, everybody has their own reasons. But bottom line is, he's the only person who's actually addressing it. And regardless how you feel about him, it's a problem that has been, and I'm not even just talking about fentanyl. I'm talking about drugs with the open border plus the illegal immigration. He's the only person addressing it. Kamala did her best not to say anything about it, and Biden obviously ignored it too. So the bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, until I see otherwise, he's the man for the job. It's a damn shame that his presidency was truncated and it was interrupted. But as far as I'm concerned, he's the man for the job on this one. Now, as far as these tariffs go, it's going to take time for us to find that out.
I hear you. So what I'm going to do is, because that's a long video, so I think I'm going to do a part 2 around lunch tomorrow, right?
All right, we're going to skip to Jordan Neely right quick.
Yeah, because you're a New Yorker, so I'm not sure if you heard my comments on Jordan Neely, but
no, I was listening.
I mean, what do you think, man? That's a New Yorker.
All right, so I've had, first of all, the Jordan Neely, or I should say the Daniel Penny verdict happened right around the exact same time that we saw this healthcare CEO get gunned down, right?
Facts.
And we saw that the vast majority of the country had a negative antithetic. They were apathetic to the CEO, and they were almost like, especially over social media, they're treating Mangione, who killed him, like this guy's a hero. And then you have to think that so many of these people who've been turned down by these healthcare companies when they filed claims over many different things, these people didn't build this apathy from nowhere. They built this apathy because, as they say violence is the language of the unheard. So these people built this apathy for this man, and I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for his family. But the reality is, you look at somebody like Jordan Neely. Now, when the facts started coming out about him, you find out he's arrested over 40 times. You found out that when he was a child, his mother was dismembered, and she had an abusive ex-boyfriend or something. You can easily understand and sympathize why somebody like that would go down the toilet. You can understand why they would go through mental illness and all that. You can understand it. And then you see that somebody like that, who obviously needed counseling, wasn't going to get it, because now you got these healthcare companies who aren't going to pay for it. So what you now see is, you see these two problems juxtaposed. So you've got these people who are apathetic of a guy who killed a CEO, but now you see that system failed Jordan Neely. And I'm not taking Jordan Neely's side, because I've tried riding. I rode the trains, and the simple fact is, whenever you get on one of these trains, there's all types of bullshit going down. You got people acting like it's a jungle gym. You got people acting like it's the circus trying to fuck. Yeah, you got people acting like it's a jungle gym. You got people acting it's a fucking circus.
Yeah.
You got people roll. I mean, I've seen, like, and it's sad, because some of them weren't causing any problems, and they were literally putting on shows. Like, you got people you got 3 people who get into a ball and roll around the motherfucking train in some shit like I've never seen nothing like that before. Like they join themselves at the legs and the head, and they're literally rolling around like they're a giant circle. And it's hard to explain it, but I had never seen nothing like that before, unless you go to the circus. Thing about it is, you got this guy Jordan Neely. Suppose he's a Michael Jackson dancer, and it bothers me because they keep throwing Michael Jackson's name out there.
Yeah, Mike got nothing to do with this, man. That's
Michael Jackson he was just a Michael Jackson dancer. And I'm not saying that he should have been killed, but the fact is, the system failed him, and he should not have been around people on the fucking train. And what this is what gets me. The system did nothing about him up until this happened. It's just like with these illegal immigrants. When one of them finally snaps and kills somebody or rapes somebody, the question is, how the fuck did this guy get here? What was this person doing here? The system that let them in here failed to keep them out. And once they got in, then they wreaked havoc. So all you can do now is grab them, maybe put them in jail, maybe deport them. But you've let an innocent victim go because the system failed. So My thing is, I feel bad for the family, but then I have to ask, where the fuck was the family all these years? The father comes out,
Yeah,
and you got to ask, wait a minute. And there's a story on Apple News. I had posted it on my Facebook, and somebody basically came out with an opinion saying, yeah, Jordan Neely's father is responsible partially for his death. Because the question is, all this time, did you know where he was? All this
I
time.
literally just said that earlier in the show. Like,
yeah,
he's coming out. He's suing.
Yeah, because you know what it is? Every time it really bothers me because it's almost like an MO at this point. But every time one of these people, and I don't want to call them worthless, but for the most part, their family wrote them off a long time ago. Every time one of these people gets killed, whether it was George Floyd, or whether it was the one who was on that who was in that police van and his neck was broken.
Oh, the nigga from Baltimore. I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to use the N word. I'm doing my best to avoid using the N word. I try not to do it
for you.
But my bottom line, and I don't want to call them worthless people, but these motherfuckers never would have made that kind of money in their entire life dancing like Michael Jackson. You never would have made whatever that lawsuit, whatever number that he put on that lawsuit. First of all, I could guarantee you Daniel Penny ain't got that kind of money. I could guarantee it. Secondly, whatever money that this dude would have made in his entire life would never have amounted to what you're worth dead in a lawsuit to Al Sharpton and to whatever other Democrat politician wants to come speak at your funeral. So you're worth more dead than you are alive. The question is, who killed you and how did they do it? If the cops kill you, oh, you're worth multiple millions of dollars if the cops kill you. But these people have thrown in every single excuse they can throw in. And I've even heard them blaming the criminal justice system. And I'm like, yo, the cops had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, they arrested They arrested him 43 times. I mean,
and you know, and then you have to ask the question. It's like, well, if they can lock these people up, how the fuck are they getting out of jail? And why are they allowed to be on the train? Let me tell you, I've been all over the world. I've been to Dubai, I've been to South Korea, I've been to China, I've been to Bali, I've been to Singapore. I've gone to all of these other fucking countries, and you won't see any of the bullshit that you see on a New York City subway train on a daily basis.
I'm gonna tell you,
you don't see a fraction of that shit.
Dubai. I've been to Dubai and I've been to Bali. You definitely won't see him either of those places.
You won't see any of it. And if you haven't been to Singapore, Dubai, South Korea, all of their subways, their subways, their metro rails, all of that stuff looks identical. You won't see litter on the floor. You won't see any of these dudes pissing on anything, because in Singapore they whip your ass for it. But my thing is, it's like all of these other countries, they've figured out how to deal with their mental illness, but we haven't. Like, that's just amazing. Our mental illness, they keep the liberals have decided to keep mental illness among us. That's what they've decided to do. They want them on the bus with you.
Yeah.
They want them on the train with you. And it's any other country, you don't see this shit.
I don't catch the bus or the train, and I do not send my children to public school.
Well, but you gotta understand. Let me tell you something. I'm in New York City. New York City, right? There's Long Island. Long Island is segregated. That's where the white people used to live for the most part, and a lot of them still do. But a lot of minorities have moved out past Valley Stream to Long Island. They moved out to Suffolk and Nassau County, right? The problem is New York City has made it so difficult and so expensive to drive a fucking car into New York City, until a lot of times you end up taking the train or the LIRR, the Long Island Railroad. You end up taking those things just because it costs you way too much just to drive a car. So, like, what these liberals do is they destroy these cities and they just make it miserable. And you can't even arm yourself. Like, I have I got pistols and all that stuff. You're not allowed to bring any of that shit into New York City. If Daniel Penny had a gun, he might have ended up shooting him. Maybe he would have just held him at gunpoint. We really don't know. But here you are, you're on one of these New York City trains or buses, and you're literally a hostage to whoever's around you. Because if they're armed and you're not, you're a hostage. If they're threatening violence and you're not ready to deal with that, you're a hostage. Up until those doors open and you get off at your stop, you're a fucking hostage inside the city. I have property inside the city. I've recently moved to Long Island. I swear to God, I'll never fucking move back to New York City. You have no rights inside New York City. As a black person, you're basically a fucking sheep. If the cops don't get you, the gangbangers will. Or the robbers will. So you have a choice. You have a choice whose bullets you die at the hands of. So I out here in Long Island, as soon as I drive past Valley Stream, out here, it's Trump country. Out here, we're free. And it's funny because the Democrats have done their best to try to get into Long Island, and Long Islanders, which is mostly white, will not let these motherfuckers get out here because they know they will fuck us up and we'll end up just like the city, and the whole shit will be miserable. They know it, and they will not let these bastards come out here. They wanted to get rid of single family homes in Long Island. I'm in a single family home right here in Long Island. They want to get rid of single family homes, let these motherfucking foreigners come in, tear down your single family home, build up a monstrosity, put people on the top floor, the middle floor, the bottom floor, overcrowd the place. Then they want to let the illegal aliens come in. And that's, and I'll just say this, and I'll land. That's why these Hispanics said, fuck Kamala Harris. And it's like, you're not going to do that to our neighborhood. Because where do you think they're sending all those people? When they're bringing those Latinos and those Hispanic speakers into this country illegally and letting these people come in here, where do you think they're sending those people? They're sending those people to Hispanic neighborhoods. And the gap between wealthy and poor is growing. And these people said, no, you're not going to destroy our neighborhoods. I got to give it to them. Latinos and white people, they fight back. Blacks are like the only ones that you'll see allow poor and mentally ill to be put right in your fucking backyard.
Man, I'm telling you.
The rest of us are armed to the fucking teeth.
Well, I will say this: the white people in DC are the exception because, I mean, they're letting this mayor down here put up all type of crap in their neighborhoods, which people worked hard to get to. Like the houses in their neighborhood, like Tinley Town. Well, you don't. I'm not sure if you know about DC, but like
I've been down to DC, but only to go to the Supreme Court building.
If you want to get into like one of the real nice housing areas in DC, I mean, you're talking 4 or 5 million for some little shit. You know what I mean?
But there's something about DC you have to understand, and this is part of the reason why the Democrats want DC to have statehood. But part of the reason why it won't get statehood is because the land that makes up DC is borrowed from the surrounding states. So you're dealing with mixtures of people who normally would have been parts of the surrounding states that make up DC. So it's an ultra liberal town. I've been to DC a couple of times. It was all, it went from being a shithole. But when I would drive around, like when you get to Capitol Hill, it gets really, really nice because all that shit is expensive now.
Bro, but here's the thing. You're right, but you're absolutely wrong.
Okay.
So Capitol Hill, right? There's certain parts of Capitol Hill that's going to always be nice because it's literally like a block or two away from the Capitol, right?
Right.
You could go 6 blocks from Capitol Hill and you could be in hell.
No, I hear what you're saying. I've driven around the place.
But what I'm saying is DC is too liberal because the white people that have control of certain things in DC, they're too liberal because they let the bullshit go on in their neighborhoods. If you go to Upper Northwest, like Tinley Town, within the past 7 or 8 years, they done put like 3 homeless shelters, but they look like nice homeless shelters, but they put them in the Tinley Town area, and the people just let it, they let it slide. But what they don't understand is because I work in public safety, and I work somewhat in that area is going down faster than I've seen anything ever go down. You're talking about, you got $10 million homes in this area, but the apartment buildings are so old, right? And they got homeless shelters around there that the area is going down quick, because why would you pay top notch to live in that area in one of them old ass buildings when you can go further into the city, right? And you can get up a top notch apartment with a rooftop, pool, bars, all that shit for the same price or less.
But that's exactly how New York City and that's exactly how California are. That's the reason why they saw the voting results the way they saw them.
Yeah.
The gap between wealthy and poor is growing. And that's another thing when it comes to blacks and Hispanics. What you're also seeing is a class divide between blacks and Hispanics. Not between blacks and Hispanics, but between blacks and Hispanics and Hispanics.
Yeah.
You're seeing and it also is happening between blacks and Hispanics too. So there's a class divide between all of us, and you're seeing a classism form between wealthy blacks and poor blacks, like basically me versus a Daniel Penny, or no, not Daniel Penny, fucking Jordan Neely. So, he's mentally ill, homeless, and on a fucking train. And meanwhile, I'm, working full time and a concealed carrier. If it was me and I ended up being Daniel Penny, he might have been blown away. So the problem is you're dealing with a class divide rather than a race divide.
For sure.
And these liberal states, California specifically, New York, DC, that's a prelude of things to come. They will make it so that only the liberal elite is living well, because who the fuck else is going to afford a $10 million place? I mean, seriously.
Well, so
but the elites live well.
This is the crazy stuff they do in DC, right? There's a mandate in DC, right? You cannot put up a new apartment building, no matter how luxury it is. It has to be like, it's either 15 or 20% low income. Basically, no matter where you are in DC or where you put up a building, if you don't have 15 to 20% people low income, like basically Section 8, you can't have a building.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Let me break you in on something. I want you to think back to slavery. Where did the slaves live?
In DC, or like, what do you mean?
Back during slavery, where did the slaves live?
In huts, I guess. I don't know.
Where?
On the property.
Thank you. So think about it like this. Rich people are not going to do the fucking jobs. They need to keep slaves as close as possible.
But here's the thing, though, bro. DC is a small city, right? And this is why I disagree with that, because not with what you're saying, but I disagree with the policy. Bro, if I'm working hard to pay $5,000-$6,000 a month for my apartment building, there's no way a nigga next to me should be paying $58 a month. No way.
Well, that nigga next to you voted for a Democrat who championed making it so that those buildings had to let him in there, because otherwise he wouldn't be allowed anywhere near there.
Yeah.
That's that's my whole point. This system is so fucked up until that's what you end up getting stuck with. And that's the reason why they will not let these goddamn Democrats come out here to Long Island. They won't let it happen, because they know that if they come out here, they'll start that raising taxes shit in order to pay for welfare programs, and the next thing you know, you'll have low income housing everywhere.
Yeah.
And or they'll change the zoning laws. And and believe me, man, let me tell you something. I got 2 properties, man. Let me tell you something. Whenever I go to either one of my houses, in the door, in the fucking mailbox, even earlier today, I came home. Oh, yes, there's a card. Hi, I'm interested in buying your house. You don't have to do anything to it. I'm interested in buying your house. Let me tell you something. These people they're desperate for property in certain areas. And I know they're desperate over there in DC to get properties. And the thing about it is, the second you let these foreigners come in there, they've got unlimited access to money. They can pay you whatever it takes to get you out of there. But once they get your ass out of there, first of all, you're never coming back. and number two, they're going to change those zoning laws, and they're gonna destroy what low population beauty you used to have. They will destroy it. They've turned these cities into miserable cesspools. You can't even get on the fucking train without being accosted or being in fear of your life. That's what they do.
I mean, I'm surprised that y'all even still get on the train in New York. Like most,
I told you it costs too fucking much. Yo, listen, if I
haven't been on a train in DC in probably 15 years.
Dude. It only costs, like, if I want to get from right here where I am, if I want to get out of my bed right now, and I want to get to the Empire State Building, especially during rush hour, right? If I walk up the block, I take a bus to the train. The bus is going to cost like $2.50 or something like that, and the train is going to cost like maybe $7 or $9 or something like that, or $11. But I guarantee the whole trip from here to the Empire State Building is going to cost like $20. If I tried to drive my car into the city, there's like no place to park. So parking is going to cost me like $50 or $60 because they've made it so that there's nothing but commercial parking outside. Not only that, they have these congestion pricing cameras, and all you do is drive past them and they take a picture of your fucking license plate and they charge you money through the mail just because you were in the area. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't know. You heard of congestion pricing?
No, these people got to go.
This is this shit that fucking Hochul started.
But I tell you,
no, and that's not fair. It started before her. It started before her under Cuomo. But
it's worse in DC because yes, you got to deal with that, which is terrible. But so look what they did in DC. They made a law, and they just changed it. Right? They just changed it, but they made a law where they made it no criminal offense to hop the trains. Like you can hop your fare, no offense.
Right.
So you're literally, if you pay your money to get on the train,
yeah, you're a sucker.
You're a sucker because not only are you a sucker for paying to get on, now everybody and their mama who needs a quick dollar or who can evade the metro cops can rob your ass free of charge because you're a sucker on the train.
But that's these Democrats telling the cops to disengage. That's these Democrats letting these fucking kids run wild and letting them do whatever they want. And because, see, the thing about it is if you have no respect for authority, who knows how far you'll go? But when they're telling the cops to disengage and not to bother arresting fare jumpers, because your buddy Jordan Neely, he was arrested numerous times for jumping turnstiles. Obviously, if you're homeless and you ain't got no money and you ain't got nothing to lose, then you certainly aren't going to pay to jump the turnstile to get on the train. You're not going to pay. You know, and this turnstile jumping is so common now until the cops, I've seen cops posted in order to respond to it, but it's like a joke. The new turnstiles they got look like monkey bars. It's like you could jump up and swing your legs over the shit.
But nah, I will say this: in DC, they're fed up. Like they got big plastic. Like you cannot jump the fares no more. Like it literally just changed. Like a nigga tried to jump the shit the other day, and he fell off the side of the platform and landed on the train tracks and almost got killed. I don't think he'll be able to walk again. But
yeah, man, I just was in Singapore, and their turnstiles, they don't have turnstiles. They just have it's like two walls and it's like two glass wedges, and all the shit does is it just slides open for you, and that's it. And you just walk through it, and then it closes again. And they don't have to worry about none of that because if they catch you jumping a turnstile, they're gonna beat your ass and they're gonna cane you. The way that Singapore does it, they get these cowboy chaps, like you seen the cowboys wear chaps, and your ass cheeks are hanging out, and whack, 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 and they count every time they hit you on that ass. They count. Like they don't play. But see, over here you got the Democrats. Oh, well, you have to disengage. Don't engage them. It's like, are you fucking kidding? Then but that's all policy. That's the Democrat policy. And here in New York, it's Democrat control. But then again, I can't even say that because Eric Adams, I believe he's a Republican. But The fucking governor is a goddamn Democrat.
Well, Eric Adams ain't no fool. Let me ask you this before we roll. We got 3 minutes. Can you give me your thoughts on Nikki Giovanni passing? And mine's I didn't disrespect her, but they weren't all that great. And 2, the Jay-Z case.
Okay, I'll talk on the Jay-Z case specifically because I'm not really up on Giovanni.
I mean, she's a but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll leave that one alone. As far as Jay-Z, the bottom line is I wasn't there. I don't know if any of the allegations are true or not. As far as I'm concerned, it looks like he's going to end up getting a day in court. But the reality is a lot of these musicians, a lot of these stars, they've had their pick of the litter when it comes to women of all different ages. We learned that with Aaliyah. Now, I'm not accusing them of nothing. As far as I'm concerned, he's going to get his day in court, and he's going to get to disprove the rumors. Or the smart thing that he should do is keep his mouth shut and make them come up with all the evidence, because chances are they don't have it. But when you factor in this P. Diddy situation and how this asshole kept everything on camera, and they're saying, oh, wait a minute, because, I'm not going to be that person who stands up there, yeah, Jay-Z didn't do it, then P. Diddy releases a fucking tape.
I literally said it earlier, because
I'm not going to be that guy.
Said, oh, Diddy didn't do it. Cassie's trying to set him up, and then the tape comes out where he's kicking her ass in the hallway.
You know what? I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson with Michael Brown. When Michael Brown went down and everybody's blaming the cop, and then all of a sudden you're like, yo, wait a minute, this nigga just robbed a store. And then the videotape comes out, because you got to understand, black people are, let me tell you something, I feel bad for the uneducated blacks. These are the dumbest motherfuckers in the world. They thought that, we'll put video cameras on the cops and that'll prove, that'll show that we didn't do nothing wrong. Let me tell you something. I knew since I was a kid, and I snuck onto my uncle's shelf and I took down the movie RoboCop, and I saw that movie. And my uncles were cops, and I told them, I was like, all of you should have cameras on you. And I told them that then. And they were like, oh, well, we don't want to have cameras, because there's certain things that the public shouldn't see. Sure enough, the shit came true. I'm not going to fall on my sword for Jay-Z or Puff Daddy or anybody. The bottom line is, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm going to just, listen, you get your day in court. Let's see the evidence. But the bottom line is, this person really has the potential to pull out some evidence that'll drop my fucking jaw. Yeah. And the thing about it is, Jay-Z can deny it. Look at your boy Russell Simmons. I got a picture on my
again.
Huh? I got a picture on my Facebook with me and Russell Simmons. I got a picture of both of me and Russell Simmons. I met him, I think it was 2016, right? And this was before any of this bullshit came out. And that motherfucker said, fuck this. I'm getting up. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to a non-extradition place in Bali. And then sure enough, I went to Bali recently. I was looking for him. I didn't see him. But, where there's smoke, there's fire. And the thing about it is, I'm not laying on my sword for Jay-Z. It ain't happening.
Nah.
So if there's videotape, my thing is, Jay-Z, you might want to pack your shit. And you might want to go to Bali or Russia. Anybody else who thinks that they may be indicted by any Puff Daddy shit, they should be packing now. Vladimir Putin will take you. He'll take you. You can just learn Russian.
Or Castro's brother.
Nah, I'm not going down there because that's too close to America. I want to go to Russia. I want to go to some place America hates and that hates America. If I'm going to leave America, you best be sure I'm going to go someplace that absolutely hates America.
I hear you.
Just like Michael Jackson. Where did Michael Jackson go? Went to Iran. Michael Jackson stayed in Iran, peaceful, no problem. What happened when Michael Jackson came back here? Dead.
Yeah.
You know, if I escape, I'm going someplace that hates America. I know how to speak Chinese. Shit, I might go back to Shanghai.
Damn.
Yeah, I lived in China for 2 years. If I was in one of them Puff Daddy tapes, I'm packing my shit. I'm going back to Shanghai. That's right. You'll never see my ass again. I'll tell my mom, yeah, listen, if you want to visit me, I'm right here at Arbai Basiba Guoding Lu.
That's facts. Well, shit, I guess we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I mean, shit, we almost 2.5 hours in. I think I might come back and do the rest of this Trump shit tomorrow because we only went through like 15 minutes of it. So it's all good. So, I mean, any last words, bro? And,
I think I said just about everything I needed to say.
All right, yo, so look, for myself and the rest of the crew here at Trippin' Ain't Easy TV, peace out. Catch you on the next one.
All right.